Hi guys, welcome back to Dandelion Dolls, and today we're going to be learning how to fix up an old American Girl doll. So in this mini-series, we're going to learn various things like how to tighten your doll's limbs, how to straighten their hair, how to clean their skin, and how to switch their necktie to a zip tie. So in this video, we're going to learn how to tighten their limbs, so let's just get started. So here she is. This is Girl of the Year 2013 Isabelle Palmer, and she has blonde hair, and she has hazel green eyes, and she's in pretty good condition. She's my sister's doll, and we think it would be fun to just give her a little pampering today. So in this video we're going to be showing how to tighten your doll's limbs, because her limbs are pretty loose, and when doing stop motion it's kind of hard doing stop motion with a doll with untightened limbs. So let's get right into the video. So now I'm going to go through what you will need for this limb tightening. So I'm just going to get this lovely lady out of the way, and I'm going to go through what you'll need. So first you'll need some zip ties, also known as cable ties. You can get these for pretty cheap at like a hardware store or like Walmart or Amazon or Target. But these are going to be what we're going to use for zip ties. I know a lot of people use like hair ties and stuff and the hair bands, but I found that this way works a lot more easier. Now, next you're going to need something to cut your zip ties with. You can just use a pair of scissors or toenail clippers, but my dad's pretty handy with tools, so he has a zip tie gun. You probably do not have one of these, but I'm just going to use it just because they're pretty easy. They're just easier for this process. Then you're going to need a paintbrush or like a stick or something to push the stuffing back into your doll. And then you're going to need a safety pin or anything sharp like a needle or just that kind of stuff for untightening the doll's neck strings. Okay guys, here's a quick reminder. If you hate seeing your dolls with like their heads off and stuff, maybe you should not watch this video, because the doll's head is going to be off and all the stuffing is going to be taken out. So if you're very uneasy about seeing this, maybe you should not watch the video. Okay, so now the first step to our process is learning how to take off their head. So I'm pretty sure that most doll owners know how to take off their doll's head, just because it's pretty like the first step to fixing up and customizing your dolls. But if you're a new beginner, it's really easy to do. You see these little neck strings in the back? If you have an American Girl doll, they'll have these neck strings in the back, and that's what keeps the doll's head on. But unless if you have, let's say, a newer doll like Melody or Tenney, you'll see her like, where in the world are her neck strings? Well, she doesn't have any, because she's a newer doll. American Girl quit doing the neck strings. Now they do zip ties. So what you're going to do is, if you have this, get parents' help and cut like a seam ripper and cut it. And then you're going to cut the zip tie, and then her head will be gone. But then you'll have to put on the zip tie, which I'm going to show later in the series how to replace a zip tie. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so I'm zoomed up on Isabelle's neck, and you see two strings coming out, and those are her neck strings, like I showed you earlier. And you're going to take your safety pin, and you're going to go find your first knot you tied, or American Girl tie, depending if you've ever taken off your doll's head, it'll be harder. I've taken off this doll's head before, so it'll probably be easier for me. And just untie it, and then you see that this is my last knot, and her head's about to be off. Just a reminder, if you hate seeing gory things, especially your doll's head being off, don't watch this video anymore. So her head is off. Okay, so here's Miss Isabelle's head. We won't be needing this for a while now, so I'm just gonna put that away to the side, and here's her body. So now since our head is off, we can go for the actual limb tightening process. And you see that she's full of stuffing. You are going to now need like a bag. I'm just using an American Girl bag, but I really am very harsh about this. I really think you should have a bag for this, because if you lose any of your doll stuffing, issues could like get in case like the doll can't stand up properly and a whole other problems, and she'll look like skinnier or squishy. You want the doll to be kind of firm, so I really advise you to have a bag. And so you're just gonna start by unstuffing the doll. So here Isabelle is in all her glory as a floppy pancake. And here's the bag of stuffing. And I hope you listen to me and your stuffing's in a bag. And mine filled up a small American Girl bag. And now we're gonna go into the most important part of this video, the limb tightening. So this is a 2-person project. So have like an older sister or your parents around. So her arms don't need it. Oh, there's still a bit of stuffing in there. And you're going to so what you're gonna do is there's this little, like, let me see, I'll show it to the camera. There's this little knot and you can lift it up. Well, it lifts up and that's how the arm is. But over time, they get kind of, like, loose. So what we're doing right now is we're tightening the doll's limbs. So you're gonna lift it up, have like a brother or sister or mom or dad do this for you. And then you're going to tighten it, and just like a normal zip tie. Most people use hair bands for this, but I found that the zip tie works the best. And now your leg is nice and tightened and it squeaks, and that's a really good thing. So now you're just going to prepare another cable tie, and you're just going to grab your other leg and this may take a while, and this one made a weird noise. Okay, so now that one's tightened, and that's the only limbs that we're tightening. But all of her arms are tightened, but if her arms are loose, you're just going to repeat the same process for her arms, and it's just repeat the process. And here we go. We have 2 tight legs. You'll really see the difference once she's all stuffed again. So now you're just going to stuff the doll. Okay, so here we go. Let's get that out of the way. And that. Okay guys, I'm sorry that I didn't stuff the doll on camera, but she was a harder doll to stuff. And so now I'm going to go through putting back on the doll's head and how to change their string to a zip tie. Okay guys, so the doll is stuffed, and now it's time for putting her head back on. So I'm going to show you how to put that back on. So I'm going to replace her neck string with a zip tie, which I've already removed the neck string, and it wasn't that hard. You just tug on it and it comes out. So this is a quick note. So if you're planning on selling your doll and you're fixing it up for sale, so let's just say you have a Molly McIntyre from '86 or wherever Clothing Company started. People will, and you want to sell it for a good chunk of money, and people want authentic stuff. They don't want it modified. So the neck string is what makes this an American Girl doll. And the neck strings is just a new thing they do on the dolls. So I would advise you to keep the neck string on your doll, then not doing the zip tie, because if you're doing like an old doll, people won't really want it that much if it's just modified. So, but if you're just a big fan of the zip ties, or you're selling her as a custom or something and gonna re-wig her and everything, then sure, go ahead, but it is your judgment. I just advise not to if you're selling the doll as like a vintage doll or selling the doll as is. So that's just my personal preference. Okay, so let's get started. So you'll need a cable tie, also known as zip tie, and I'm using my zip tie gun, and of course you'll need your doll and your doll's head. So you're going to start by, okay, so make sure it is good. So thread it through. It may take a couple trials and errors. So it's getting around, and it may stop a bit. Okay, so we just got it pretty much all the way around, and I'm going to take my zip tie, an extra zip tie from like her arms, and I'm going to push that in, hoping that this will get to go around. Okay, and I got it. So now you're going to take your doll's head and you're going to pop it back on. You're going to pop it back on. Okay, so we got it on. And now you're going to take your zip tie and just tighten it as you would on a normal doll. So something to look for is making sure she does not have a gap. That's the big thing about this, is making sure there's no gap. So you're just going to keep tugging and until you're happy with it, and make sure the doll can still turn her head. So that is really good. So now I'm just going to go into, with my fancy zip tie gun, I'm going to snap that. And now she has no more strings and has zip tie. So I hope this was pretty informative how to do this. I know there's a lot of tutorial on YouTube about this, and if you need more information, AG Webkins has a really good one, and I'll put it down in the description if you need a more in-depth tutorial just how to do that. So thank you guys, and I will make sure to add in some before and after pictures. Bye! Head. So I haven't taken off this doll's head before, and it's giving me kind of a struggle. What? Oops, I messed it up. Ow! It stabbed me!
I said.
What?
So long.
Why?